I call Maureen Burke to make her maiden speech.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I would like to congratulate all members for their excellent maiden speeches here this afternoon. It is a great honour to stand in this place today to deliver my own maiden speech as a Member of Parliament for the community I'm proud to call my home, Glasgow North East. And it is satisfying that my first contribution is part of a debate about such an important matter close to my heart, as will become clear. As in customary, let me commence by putting on record my sincere thanks to my immediate predecessors of the constituency before its boundaries were redrawn, namely Anne McLaughlin and David Linden, who likewise care deeply about our communities and have diligently served our constituents. I also wish to briefly thank some other predecessors whom in their own way have been a source of inspiration and support over the years. Among them, the formidable Michael Martin, well known as a former Speaker of this House. It would have been interesting to hear what contribution Lord Martin of Springburn and Port Dundas would have made to today's debate on the relevance of hereditary peers in our democratic process. After all, being himself a man made good through personal advancement, not by quick of birth, but through dedicated service and merit. More recently, the north east of Glasgow was represented by Willie Bain and thereafter Paul Sweeney. Willie Bain and I go back a long way. In fact, he was the first person who showed me the ropes at my first door-knocking session. Willie's sharp legal minds served him well as a Shadow Minister for Food and later as Shadow Scotland Office Minister. He was a stalwart for his communities, but on a more personal level, he has always been a great mentor and a source of advice. And that is why I am proud to call him my friend. Paul, who now continues his public service as a member of the Scottish Parliament, is a zealous champion on the built environment of our native Glasgow. As Paul himself alluded to in his maiden speech in this place in 2017, he is another example of how the Labour movement has offered opportunities for the advancement of working class people over the last century through education. But above all, I wish to pay tribute to one former member who not only fought hard for my community and delivered change, but who more than anyone encouraged me into the world of politics, and that is Margaret Curran. Yeah. I worked as a caseworker for Margaret. Her commitment, drive and determination to improve the lives of those she served had a large influence on my political awakening. She must have seen a like-minded spirit in me who cared passionately about those we serve, because it was Margaret's guidance and encouragement that led me on the road to be elected to Glasgow City Council in 2012, and now to this distinguished place. Yeah. But my political journey started much earlier. The seeds of my political awareness were sown within my community and through my family. I grew up in Easterhouse and have lived all my life in the north of Glasgow, an area, like many other parts of my home city, with an abundance of beauty, not only represented by the breathtaking splendour of Hugginfield Loch, but also by those countless communities and individuals who daily go above and beyond to help those in need and improve the amenities within our communities. Organisations such as the Cranhill Development Trust, Rosemount Lifelong Learning, Denmill Action Group, a collective of Easterhouse residents who have transformed their community through tackling litter and neglected green spaces. St Paul's Youth Forum, Proven Hall House, a medieval building dating back to the 1470s, arguably one of the most oldest buildings, which has recently been renovated under the stewardship of the partnership tasked with its full restoration, which I had the honour of chairing. and the Springburn Alive and Kicking project, who are an excellent support in breaking down social isolation for many elderly residents, to name but a few of a few wonderful organisations. My utmost thanks go to those people and communities for selflessly caring and looking out for each other, and for having placed their trust in me, without whom I would not be here, and for whom I will work tirelessly every single day. In short, the real beauty of the constituency lies within its people. Ultimately, to paraphrase the City of Glasgow's unofficial motto, it is the people of Glasgow North East that make it such a wonderful place. Yeah. Madam Deputy Speaker, as I was preparing for this speech, I have been thinking a lot about my family, about my husband, my daughter, grandchildren, who are all my personal rock, but also about my parents and my siblings, especially my younger brother David, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago due to pancreatic cancer. As the illness progressed, he was asked to take part in new medical trials, although he knew that his diagnosis was too far advanced for these trials to benefit himself. He did not hesitate to participate, as he hoped his contribution would be hopefully helpful to others who face a different outcome to their own cancer journey. David bore his journey with a quiet, resolute dignity to the end. His selfless example and dignity will always remain the benchmark of how I will conduct myself as the voice for my constituents in this place. Like many of my constituents, I grew up in a typical working-class Glasgow household. A big family, a small home, but lots of love. That began with my parents. Sadly, both my parents suffered from tuberculosis, forcing my elder siblings and I to leave school at an early age without qualifications, in order to seek employment to become the family's breadwinners. However, in my late 30s, I had the chance to take an IT course at John Mutley College. That gave me the opportunities to change my life. It is only fitting that this significant milestone in my life was made possible at a college named after yet another predecessor who did so much to improve social housing in our country under a first Labour government. Education and further education are a route out of poverty. It gives you a sense of achievement, self-belief, and the confidence that anything is possible. Education, no matter what age, can be a catalyst that sets you off on a journey that you could never have imagined. In my case, a journey from the factory floor to the Palace of Westminster. Madam Deputy Speaker, I am living proof that no matter your social background, with the right opportunities and access to education, encouragement, hard work and determination, together with a vision, as shown by a progressive government like the current one, that has the very best interests of our people at the heart, anyone can succeed and achieve their personal goals. Yeah. And this point brings me back to the topic of this debate, the removal of the last of the hereditary peers from our Parliament and from democracy itself. Those remaining 92 peers stand in direct contrast to me and my constituents. Opponents of these changes often say that removing these peers will mean losing experience. But to them, I would say, this I agree, this Parliament needs more knowledge and understanding of the world, but it should not come from an elitist class with a biased view of the world. Instead, that experience should come from a Parliament that is genuinely representative of modern and diverse Britain, drawn from people such as my constituents who have sincere struggles, hopes and aspirations. I hope that my presence here in this place and the removal of the hereditary peers in the other will help to do that. To my constituents at home, I now wish to address them directly. I am forever grateful for the trust you have placed in me as your representative in the House of Commons. I will spend every day of the term of this Parliament fighting for you, be the voice for those who have felt disenfranchised, and I will always do what I believe is best for our community. I will work across this House where possible to raise awareness of injustice and fight for equality. I will never lose sight of your priorities and the duty you have given me to serve you. After a decade and a half of social and economic decline, we must recognise that challenges that lay ahead for this new Labour government are vast. However, I am convinced that with its ambitious and exciting programme of change, as laid out in the recent King's Speech, this government will succeed in delivering economic stability, growth and social cohesion, as well as providing employment and educational opportunities and a sense of a renewed hope that life will change for the better, not just for the privileged few, but for all. Thank you.